You are Mr. Norman. Can I go ahead and get your right thumbprint on that blue light, please? Thank you. You can remove your thumb. Okay, now Mr. Norman, I'm gonna need your signature on that signature pad. I'm not able to see it, but I will. Okay, Mr. Norman, raise your right hand for me. Please swear that you've never before been given deferred adjudication or regular probation for a felony or misdemeanor in this or any other state. So, do you swear that you've never been given deferred adjudication or regular probation in this or any other state?
No, ma'am, I haven't.
Okay, and you have no pending charges that you're aware of?
No.
Okay. Put your hand down. And where is your attorney? I need his signature.
Mr. Johns, she needs your signature.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ready whenever you are. Thank you. And Mr. Norman, you're just going to report to the address that's on this front page as soon as you leave here today.
When I leave,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Judge, I'm trying to come back after the joint court and talk to you. Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. This is cause number 323-796. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Terry James Ramirez. Your full name is Terry James Ramirez?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ramirez, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Ramirez, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ramirez, you may put your hand down. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Ramirez, you are represented by your attorney, Mr. Bruce Cobb. Mr. Cobb, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir.
That's good. The information, well, I have before me, Mr. Ramirez, a motion to revoke probation. This motion alleges that on August 9th of 2019, that you were found guilty for the offense of driving while intoxicated. Your punishment was assessed at 180 days confinement in the Jefferson County Jail, a fine of $500. However, your confinement was probated for a term of 2 years. On July 31st of 2020, the state filed a motion to revoke your probation. In this motion, there are 6 allegations. I see on the plea paper, he's only pleading to 1 allegation, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, just a non-reporting.
And are you abandoning counts 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, now, Mr. Ramirez, the state alleges in this motion, in allegation number 1, that you failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office as ordered by the court for the months of October 2019, November of 2019, December 2019, January of 2020, February 2020, March 2020, and April 2020 as directed in violation of condition 4 of the defendant's probation order. Mr. Ramirez, is that true or not true?
It's true.
Now, Mr. Ramirez, are you pleading true to allegation number 1 freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading true because it is true?
Yes, sir. Because it is true.
Okay. Mr. Ramirez, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment, which is also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. On page 1 of this document, should be one box that's checked. There's one box that's checked, that's MTRP, which stands for motion to revoke probation. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, on page 2 of this same document, Mr. Ramirez, are these your initials on the line that's titled MTRP, true to allegations 1?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this document, Mr. Ramirez, is this your signature above the line that is titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is titled the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Ramirez, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Now, Mr. Cobb, you have advised and counseled Mr. Ramirez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Ramirez, your attorney, Mr. Cobb, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Ramirez, are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
You are? Okay. Now, Mr. Cobb, are you waiving the record?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, Mr. Ramirez, I will accept your plea of true to allegations number 1. I will also find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to revoke your probation, and your probation is hereby revoked. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And let's see, what is that agreement?
45 days jail.
Okay. And let's see, Mr. Ramirez, the state is offering that you serve 45 days in the Jefferson County Jail for this case. You'll be given credit for any time that you're entitled to get by law. The court cost in this case is $67. Will you be able to pay the $67?
I don't have it on me, but I have the money at home,
Okay,
but I will be able to pay it
you will, okay,
today.
good. Now, Mr. Ramirez, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Ramirez, failed to mention that the 45 days will begin today, and you have until 6 p.m. today to turn yourself in.
Okay, so I
Okay.
turn myself in.
You can turn on or before, at or before 6
Turn
p.m.
myself
today.
in and then I come right back out.
Oh, so it's up to what the jail is.
The jail is gonna calculate your time.
Okay, because I served 46 in total.
Oh, well,
I didn't calculate that, Your Honor. I calculated 21, but I couldn't say for sure on it from his prior arrest and he was rearrested, so.
I did 30 days, and then when I called the jail, they said I did 30, and then I did, when I got arrested, August 4th, 2020, and then I got out 16 days later. So 16 plus 30, that's what I added up.
Well, there was another cause number two. I don't know if that was the one you were
another,
on to. There was a felony that was reduced that he already pled out on that one, Your Honor.
oh, that's, okay. You're gonna get credit for any time that you're entitled to get by law
Yes, sir.
on this case.
Yeah,
Okay,
the one that they picked me up in Coons for, it was the MTRP. And I got transferred from Hardin County to Jefferson County.
well, the jail is gonna figure that out. Okay. All right, now, Mr. Ramirez, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
Do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Ramirez, there's an X next to your attorney. You're gonna stand on that X, and you're gonna follow the direction of the clerk.
Thank you, Judge.
Oh, you are.
You're Mr. Ramirez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
This is the one for 45 days. too. Okay. All right, Mr. Ramirez, can I get your right thumbprint on that blue light, please? Remove it and place it gently back down. Okay, you can remove your thumb, thank you. Okay, so whenever you arrive at the jail tonight, you're just gonna take these measures with you. No, I don't think that's for you. Okay.
The $67, do I need to bring that back up here before I go turn myself in?
I think you do that after he gets. Pay it at the jail, yes.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. You have a good day.
You too.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna go to my house, get my ID and money.
hey, you said Samuel?
Community soccer thing.
All right.
In session in clause number 326, 378, and clause number 327, 840. Both cases of style of state of Texas versus Tracy M. Samuel. Mr. Cobb, are you waiving the record in this case as well?
Yeah, sure.
Ms. Samuel, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Samuel, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Samuel, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Ms. Samuel?
I'm good.
That's good. Ms. Samuel, I have before me an information in clause number 326, 378, and this information alleges that on or about April 21st of 2020, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Ms. Samuel, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Ms. Samuel, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Really?
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Samuel, I have before me a document that is titled the Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, Ms. Samuel, there's a set of initials TS on a line next to a box checked nolo contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, she put her initials here. She needs-
Initials in that place?
Right here. She was supposed to put a signature on that one.
Yeah, I thought
She could erase with the back of that and
okay,
read it.
I'll do that. I thought you had done it correctly. Okay.
Okay. You just wipe it once first.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I think
okay.
She's got everything else.
That's fine.
Yeah, I
Ms.
did-
Samuel, on page 3 of State's Exhibit number 1, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
The next document is the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. Ms. Samuel, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? And the second box states that you are waiving your right to appeal, which means that you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Ms. Samuel, I also have before me a document that is titled the discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant? You have to speak up.
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Samuel, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, I'd also like to offer states to the probable cause affidavit.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Cobb, you advised and counseled Ms. Samuel. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Samuel, your attorney, Mr. Cobb, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Samuel, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The agreement is for 20 days county jail to begin on July 30th, 2021. And that's to run concurrent with cause number 327840.
Could we see affidavit indigency?
And this is,
Tracy Samuel, 326378. Ms. Samuel, the state is offering that you serve 20 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for any time that you're entitled to get by law. The court cost in this case is $287. Ms. Samuel, will you be able to pay the $287? Okay. Okay, Ms. Samuel, I have a document before me that is titled the Affidavit of Indigency. And on this document, this is a document that purports to have been signed by you on September 18 of 2020. Now, Ms., could you show that to your client?
Yes.
Miss, and you can turn the next page to
Next page.
Ms. Samuel. Do you recognize that document? Is that your signature on the document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now has there been any changes on that document? Is everything still the same?
The address has changed.
Okay, but in reference to your income and expenses, is that still the same?
I'm still at Dollar Tree, but I hadn't been to work in like a week.
Oh,
I had a lot of stuff going on.
okay, I'm just, okay, so
Still employed.
now are you saying you're working?
Yeah, I'm working.
So that's a change. You, at the time that you signed this document, you weren't working.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I didn't know.
And are you still receiving SNAP?
Yes, sir, I'm receiving that. So-
Okay, so you automatically qualify. Okay, so Ms. Samuel, the court is gonna find that you're indigent. And based on that finding of indigency, the court cost of $287 is gonna be waived. And that's pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. And so Ms. Samuel, let me repeat this to you. State is offering that you serve 20 days in Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for any time that you're entitled to get by law. The court costs are $287, which will be waived, which means you won't have to pay it.
Yes, sir.
You will be, this case will run concurrent with cause number 347840. And you'll turn yourself into the Jefferson County Jail on July 30th of 2021 at or before 6 p.m.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Ms. Samuel, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
You think the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Samuel, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Samuel, your next case is cause number 327840. And the information in this case, Ms. Samuel, alleges that on or about May 20th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of resisting arrest, search, transportation. Ms. Samuel, do you understand what you've been charged with? Resisting arrest, search, transportation?
Yes, sir.
You understand what you've been charged with? And to this charge, Ms. Samuel, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? Is anybody forcing you to plead no contest? Is anybody forcing you to plead no contest? So you pleaded no contest of your own free will?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Samuel, and are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Ms. Samuel, I'm gonna show you, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments. It's also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document? You recognize this document?
That's the plea admonishment.
You want to show it to us?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure.
You recognize it?
Mhm. I guess.
Okay, on page 2. Okay, just sit back and relax. Nobody's doing anything to you, just asking you a few questions. Okay, Ms. Samuel, on page 2 of this document, there are a set of initials, TS, on a line next to a box that's checked nolo contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of the same document, above the line that's titled defendant, is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, which is the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm asking, you don't have to look at either one of them. I mean, is
Yes,
this,
my signature.
okay, just listen to my questions. Now, there are 2 boxes that are checked at the top of this document. Do you see that? The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I also have before me a document that is titled the Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? She can get a little closer. She could get over there on the X.
I guess.
You recognize this document? You see your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you recognize this document?
I guess. I don't remember it.
Okay, I'll give Mr. Cobb a few minutes. He can take a few minutes to go over that document with you.
That's your signature, isn't it?
So my question again to you is, do you recognize this document, Discovery Certification? And is this your signature where, excuse me, over here, is this your signature where it says defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Samuel, these documents that I've just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you? Okay. And did you understand everything, or did you read and understand everything that your attorney went over? You have to speak up.
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay? State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and also like to offer states 2 probable cause affidavit.
Any objections, Mr. Cobb?
No, no objection.
Okay, no objections. State's Exhibits Number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Cobb, you have advised and counseled Ms. Samuel. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No whatsoever.
Okay, Ms. Samuel, Your attorney, Mr. Cobb, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Samuel, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is the agreement?
The agreement is for 20 days county jail to begin on July 30th, 2021. And that's to run concurrent with cause number 326378.
Okay. Ms. Samuel, the state is offering that you serve 20 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You will be given credit for any time that you're entitled to get by law. And the court cost in this case, Ms. Samuel, is $337. You would not have to pay that $337 because the court has previously found that you are indigent. Therefore, the court costs will be waived. And Ms. Samuel, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
Oh, and let me do this here. Now, your jail time will begin on July 30th at or before 6 p.m. In this case, we'll run concurrent with the previous case, which is cause number 326378. Ms. Samuel, do you understand the state's offer? Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Samuel, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. Samuel, you please stand on the X next to your attorney. And once you're gonna follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following the directions of our clerk, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You stand on the X right there.
Hi, Ms. Samuel. I'm gonna go ahead and get your right thumbprint on that blue light, please. Okay, you can remove your thumb, thank you. Alrighty, Ms. Samuel, so these copies of the commitments are for you. You're gonna bring, for both of your cases, you're gonna bring, there's 2 copies for each. You're gonna bring those to the jail whenever you report, on July 30th by 6 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What you looking for?
I'm just seeing what you put up here.
Oh, that was
They
part of
have-
that.
Do you need me to sign anything?
Not for this case, no, sir.
Okay.
Nothing for anything else.
No, ma'am, you're good.
I'm good.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Where's your office?
485 my office with John.
I didn't see it.
That's a lot.
Yes, let me just, so that I can find one. And then I'll let you know.
Oh, I didn't work, right?
No, I just didn't know if you knew about it.
I wasn't gonna go to the jail, but I can walk.
Our next case is Hugo Torres.
Oh, he's got you.
You got
This is cause, we're in session in cause number 310944 and cause number 311332. Both cases are style the state of Texas versus Hugo Torres. Mr. Torres, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Torres, Would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Torres, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Torres, you may put your hand down. How you doing, Mr. Torres?
Good about yourself.
Oh, I'm doing fine. Mr. Torres, you're here represented by your attorney, Mr. Charles McIntosh. Mr. McIntosh, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Judge. Thank you.
That's good. Mr. McIntosh, would you please just hand that to your client? I'll go over that with him at the end. Mr. Torres, I have before me in cause number 310944, a motion to revoke your probation. In this motion, it alleges that on June 18th of 2019, in County Court at Law Number 2, that you were found that a finding of guilt in this case was deferred, and that you were placed on deferred probation for the offense of possession of marijuana for a period of 6 months. On December 9th of 2019, the state filed a motion to revoke your probation. And in this motion, Mr. Hugo, there are 2 allegations. The first allegation alleges that on or about November 4th of 2019, that you failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office as ordered in violation of condition, well, it was on, not on or about, but on November 4th of 2019, in violation of condition 4 of your probation order. Is that true or not true?
Yes, sir.
You have to say true or not true.
True.
True, okay.
Yes, sir.
The next allegation 2, alleges that you failed to pay court assessed fees as ordered by the court. And as of November 21st of 2019, you were $1,025 in arrears in violation of condition 8 of your probation order. Is that true or not true?
True.
True. Now, Mr. Torres,
Yes, sir.
are you pleading true to allegations 1 and 2 freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir. All right.
And are you pleading true because they are true?
They are. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Mr. Torres, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. You recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of the same document, Mr. Torres, there are a set of initials, HT, on a line next to a box that says check MTRP, which stands for motion to revoke probation, true to allegations 1 and 2.
Correct.
Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On the next page of this document, Mr. He didn't, he initialed. He's supposed to put his signature right here at the top where it says defendant. Get it rest. Okay, thank you. Mr. Hugo,
Yes, sir.
I have before, well, at least Mr. Torres. Mr. Torres, I have before me a document, State's Exhibit Number 1 on page 3 of this document. There's a signature above the line that's typed defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, which is a trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Torres, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Now, Mr. McIntosh, you advised and counseled Mr. Torres. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Torres, your attorney, Mr. McIntosh, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Torres, I will accept your plea of true to allegations 1 and 2. I will also find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of true that and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I would also find that your probation, is hereby revoked. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
The agreement is for 8 days credit for time served, tax and retired court costs. And that's to run concurrent with cause number 311332.
Okay. Mr. Torres, the state is offering that you serve 8 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail because you've already served 8 days in the Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served.
Yes, sir.
The court costs in this case is $67, but you will not have to pay the $67 in this case because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court costs will be taxed and retired. Mr. Torres, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
I do.
Mr. Torres, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. And also, this case will be running concurrent with cause number 311332. All right. Now, Mr. Torres, I have another case before me. That case is cause number 311332. And I have before me a motion to revoke your unadjudicated probation in that case. And in this case, Mr. Torres, the motion alleges that on June 18th of 2019 in County Court at Law number 2, that the court found the evidence was sufficient beyond a reasonable doubt to support a finding of guilt. However, the court deferred your adjudication of guilt and placed you on probation for a period of 6 months for the offense of unlawfully carrying a weapon. On December 9th of 2019, the state filed a motion to revoke your unadjudicated probation. And in this motion, Mr. Torres, there are 2 allegations. The first allegation alleges that you failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office as ordered by the court on November 4th of 2019 as directed in violation of condition 4 of your probation order. Is that true or not true?
It's true.
Allegation 2 alleges that you failed to pay court assessed fees as ordered by the court, and as of November 21st of 2019, you were $627 in arrears in violation of condition 8 of your probation order. Is that true or not true?
It's true.
Mr. Torres, are you pleading true to allegations 1 and 2 freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Torres, are you pleading true because these allegations are true?
Yeah.
Mr. Torres, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishment. It is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Torres, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of the same document, Mr. Torres, are these your initials on a line next to a box that's checked MTRP, which stands for motion to revoke probation,
Yes, sir.
true to allegations 1 and 2?
Yes, sir.
And on the next page of the same document, Mr. Torres, is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir. It is.
And on the next document, Mr. Torres, which is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you understand this? Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant? There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Torres, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me, State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
No
In-
objections.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. McIntosh, you advised and counseled Mr. Torres. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Torres, your attorney, Mr. McIntosh, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
I am, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. McIntosh, are you waiving a record in both of these cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Torres, I will accept your pleas of true to allegations 1 and 2. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your pleas and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there's sufficient evidence to revoke your probation, and your probation is hereby revoked. State, do we have a plea bargain in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that plea bargain agreement?
The agreement is for 8 days credit for time served, for tax and retired court costs. And that's to run concurrent with cause number 310944.
Okay, Mr. Torres, the state is offering that you serve 8 days in the Jefferson County Jail, but you would not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you've already served 8 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case is $67, but you will not have to pay the $67 because the time that you spent in jail has paid it off. So therefore, the court cost will be taxed and retired. Now, Mr. Torres, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir. I do.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Torres, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Torres, I have handed to you, your attorney handed to you the model written admonishments on ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Do you see that document?
You said what now?
The document is titled Model Written Admonishment or Model Written Ammunition on Ineligibility to Possess Firearm or Ammunition. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll go over this document with you. And it reads, in accordance with Texas Administrative Code Section 176.1, the court hereby admonish you of the following. Number 1, you are by entry or order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Number 2, beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number 3, under Texas Penal Code Section 46.013A, firearm means any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion or burning substance, or any device readily convertible to that use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife blade or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is 1, an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, or 2, a replica of an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are a starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Orders for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code Section 46.02, unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code Section 46.04, unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code Section 25.07, violation of certain court orders or conditions of bond in a family violence, child abuse or neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code Section 85.026, warning on protective orders. Now, Mr. Torres, that is your copy to keep. Mr. Torres, this will conclude your case.
This means I can't own a firearm right now?
Just, your attorney will explain it to you. So, Mr. Torres, this will conclude your case. Stand on the X, follow the directions of our clerk. And once you finish following the directions of the clerk, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Torres? Can I get your right thumbprint on the blue light, please? Well,
You don't know when y'all are gonna get the,
Okay.
like, the TDCAA coming by?
Oh, well,
Thank you. You can have my
No, 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 usually they come by and do a presentation locally.
I don't know, I know the one about the
Okay, Mr.
Actually, I think that what you're talking about, it usually happens like in September.
It's August, September range.
I think it's, because usually when we have our judicial conference, it's usually like a week after the judicial conference in September.
Cause they've sent
It's
people,
September 20-something in Galveston this year.
no. TDCAA sends a lecturer to each DA office to talk to them individually about, these are the criminal legislative updates for, yeah.
Yeah, August, September, somewhere in there, yeah. Nicholas Jamal Lewis. This is cause number 326144. Case is styled the state of Texas versus Nicholas Jamal Lewis. Mr. Lewis, is that your full name? How you doing, Mr. Lewis? I'm doing fine. Mr. Lewis, I have before me a document or an information that alleges that on or about November 6th of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of assault. Do you understand what you've been charged with? And to this charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes, sir.
Well, let me do this. I should have sworn. Would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Lewis, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Lewis, you may put your hand down. Now, Mr. Lewis, let me back up. I have before me an information that alleges that on November 6th of 2019, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of assault. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, Mr. Lewis, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Lewis, I have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments. On page 1 of this document, well, first of all, Mr. Lewis, do you recognize this document? On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Lewis, there's a set of initials at the bottom. This document on the line that's titled NOLA contingent, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document? And on page 3 of the same document, Mr. Lewis, is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
And I have another document here, Mr. Lewis, that's titled just trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
We have a discovery certification.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Lewis, I have before me a document that is titled the discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
He initialed, he was supposed to sign. He just initialed. Okay, thank you. Mr. Lewis, you recognize this document, discovery certification?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Lewis, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I just mentioned, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes,
to the best of your knowledge?
yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and also offer states to the probable cause affidavit.
No objections to you.
Okay, no objection. State's Exhibit number 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. McIntosh, you've advised in counsel. Mr. Lewis, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Lewis, your attorney, Mr. McIntosh, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Lewis, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Can I get his affidavit in? Mr. Now State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
The agreement is for 6 months deferred probation, a $200 fine, 40 hours community service, and no contact with Jonathan Richard.
Okay, Mr. Lewis, the state is offering that you serve 6 months deferred adjudicated probation. During the 6-month deferred adjudicated probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $200 plus court costs of $337, which comes to a total of fine and court costs of $537. You'll also be required to pay $60 each month probation fee, $15 each month urinalysis fee. You'll be required to reimburse Jefferson County attorneys, the court-appointed attorney's fee of $250. Now, your total monthly installments come out to be $235 per month. Mr. Nicholas, would you be able to pay the $235 per month?
No, no, sir.
Okay, now, Mr. Nicholas, I have before me a affidavit of indigency that was purported to be signed by you on April the 6th of 2021. Could you show this to your client?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Lewis, do you recognize that document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature on that document?
Yes, sir.
Is everything in that document still true and correct?
No, sir.
No changes?
Yes, sir. I don't work there.
Okay, so I'm saying, okay, let me see. So, as far as your income, so you don't have any income?
No, sir.
Okay, so instead of making $475 per month, you can make it 0 per month now. Okay, so, the court is going to find that you're indigent. So 0, you're not employed. And because of the court is making a finding that you are indigent, the court costs well, let's see. Uh-oh, what's going the fine and court costs, the fine and court costs is gonna be converted to community service.
Judge,
be-
I apologize to interrupt. The one thing with that, and I don't really know how to balance this. My client's about to start full-time school in the fall. And so the reason why we made the deal that we did,
In the fall,
yes, Judge, this upcoming semester.
okay, but
And so,
this is July, when school start?
I started running classes, supposed to be coming up this week, but I don't
Okay.
know when to start actually.
but so the hope is that with the community service hours that we agreed to, he would be able to knock those out with, this last week of July, and then hopefully first couple weeks of August, maybe before his classes start, he can knock out his community service. Court costs are very high in this case, and I understand that's sad, but so I'm not really quite sure what to do there. But the hope was with the fine amount is that he could maybe scrounge up the $200 over the course of the 6 months to pay that off. That would allow him to try to get these community service hours done before he starts school, was our hope in negotiating with the state on why we made the deal that we made.
Well, I understand that, but I have to ask him whether or not he can, pursuant to Article 42.15 of the code, we have to ask whether or not, if he can afford to pay the fine and costs. And based on whether his response to it, then we would decide, looking at those options that we have in 42.15, what we'll do. And one of the options is to convert it to community service. And basically the community service is a person do 1 week of 8 hours, that's 40 hours right there. And so we had the 43 hours. So the question is, if he can pay it, he'll pay it. If he can't pay it, then we're required to do something else. whether there's sufficient resources or income to immediately pay all or part of the court determines. Yeah, I mean, he's on probation, so he's already paying it at a later, if he would be paying it in installments. Community service would be the next option. Yeah, the court is not inclined to waive it. 43.091. Yeah. Yeah, that's discretionary, yeah. Yeah, the court is not inclined to waive it, so the court is going to convert it to community service. We don't have anybody from probation here, but there are several options that he have regarding community service. I went to college too, and I know you set your schedule, okay? So you're not gonna be in class from 8 to 5. Okay, you have some days you have classes. You can set it some days you don't have classes. So, I mean, you have 6 months in which to do these community service hours. So you can just set your schedule accordingly. Okay?
Our football program wouldn't be either though.
Okay, well, I mean, football is a semester. Well, this is 6 months, yeah. But you still have to, you're gonna have to schedule your time, okay? One thing is, so the court is gonna order that you do 43 hours of community service in lieu of paying the fine and cost. The probation fee in this case is not gonna be $60. It's gonna be reduced to the minimum of $25, okay? So, that's gonna be the ruling of the court. You can talk to your attorney about other options that you may have, during the 6-month period that you are actually on the probation, okay? But for right now, the court is going to convert your fine and costs to community service, okay?
So he just has a total of 83 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
83 hours of community service. So he's not paying any fine and court costs, but he is doing the community service.
83 hours community
Yeah,
service.
he got the
25
regular 40 hours community service that he was ordered to do.
Plus
And
43.
then the 43 of the fine and court cost that was converted
Right.
to
And
community
then
service.
The $25.
The $25 per month is
For his probation.
the probation officer.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Okay, so let's see. Okay, let me do this again. So the state is offering that you serve 6 months deferred adjudicated probation. During the 6 months deferred adjudicated probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $200 plus court costs, the court cost is $337, which comes to a total of $537. That $537 is converted into 43 hours of community service. Your probation fee in this case will be $25. It will be reduced from $60 to $25 per month. And you will be required to pay a year analysis fee of $15 and the court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. And your total monthly installments is going to change. The probation office is going to recalculate that, factoring in the fact that your fine and court costs was converted to community service and your fee of probation is reduced from $60 to $25. Do you understand? All right. Now, you will also be required to perform the 40 hours of regular community service. You cannot have any contact with Jonathan Richard or Richard, depending on how they pronounce it. And you would also have to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Do you understand that? All right. Now, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the conversion of the community service hours and the reduction of your probation fee to $25. Now, Mr. Lewis, if you successfully complete the probationary period, your case will be dismissed. It will not appear on your record as a conviction, and you may qualify for a non-disclosure. And you could talk to your attorney, Mr. McIntosh, about the non-disclosure. He's quite competent in those matters. Okay. Now, Mr. Lewis, now this is an assault case. Now, you say you mentioned that you play football.
Yes, sir.
Take your aggression out on the football field.
Yes, sir.
Okay, not in the community.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so stand on the X and follow the directions of our clerk. Once you're finished in here, you'll be free to leave and you have a blessed day.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Oh, I still need to get.
Oh, you need more here?
Okay, we back in session in County Court Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas, on the announcement docket and the motion to revoke probation docket. Judge Terrence L. Holmes presiding. We've concluded the motion to revoke probation docket, and we have one case left on our announcement docket, which was scheduled, and both dockets were scheduled at 9 a.m. this morning. And today's date is July 23rd of 2021. This is cause number 322936. The case is styled the State of Texas versus Cameron Austin Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez was scheduled to be in court this morning at 9 a.m. for the court's announcement docket. At or about 9 a.m., his name was called by the court's bailiff at the courthouse door. He did not answer. The court has been in session since that time, since 9 a.m. The time now is 12:18 p.m. on today's date. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Cameron Hernandez? Cameron Hernandez's name was just called again by the court's bailiff at the courthouse door. He did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Hernandez an opportunity to appear in court for the announcement docket. State, do you have a motion?
Yes, Your Honor, the state would move for forfeiture at this time.
That motion will be granted to warrant be issued for the arrest of Cameron Hernandez and cause number 322938. Excuse me, cause number 322936. Warrant shall be issued for his arrest and his bond shall be forfeited. And this will conclude the calling of the court's announcement docket and the motion to revoke probation document, cause number, in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, Judge Terrence L. Holmes presiding.